Hello there, my lovely jewelry makers. I'm Christina at CSLdesigns, and today I'm going to be opening up another dollar bead box and bag. So I have it here ready to open up. So I've already cut the tape here just so it's easy to get into, but I haven't looked yet. So let's just get straight into opening it. I'm curious what's inside. Get that up. And then first of all, we have the bag like usual. So I'm just going to bring that out and I'm going to look at that first. Just put the box away for now. And then let's get it all out. And we also have the paper like usual here. Can actually get the description for all of it. First impressions look very interesting. A bunch of lovely nice colours. Right, so let's have a bit of a closer look. Get them all sorted out here. Right, so let me just start with the 3mm ones here because they're first on the list. So I have, first of all, crystal blue zircon are the first ones. I'm guessing that's got to be these ones here where they're kind of clear. And then they have the partly coated with a bit of a dark blue metallic coating. That makes them sparkle lovely as well. Oh, they're quite interesting. Mint white luster. That's got to be these ones. Bring them over. That's quite a nice colour. They almost remind me a little bit of winter snow and ice with that colour. Very minty. And then it's a lovely sparkle when you really move them. They catch the light just wonderfully. That's nice. Then we have tangerine, which has got to be this one. Quite yellow. But it's kind of transparent yellow, also faceted. And then finally there's the transparent cobalt blue. Now that's a really deep blue. That's lovely. That a very bright and beautiful blue. That's nice. So those are the 3mm strands. Then next we have the 4mm strands. There's 4 of them as well. Right, so first we have winter blue. That's got to be this first one. It's a bit same principle as this, where it's quite a delicate blue, which makes it very wintry, a bit frosty and snowy. This is more just a transparent one, but it's also faceted. Then opaque turquoise metallic blue. It's got to be this one. Now this I really like the look of. It's got a base coat of that turquoise, and then it's partly coated with a dark blue metallic coating, and that sparkles lovely as well when it catches the light. I really like that one. It's a lovely combination, that. And then we have evergreen, which surely has got to be the green one. A nice transparent one as well, also faceted. And then matte garnet. A lovely deep red colour as well. And it's matte, so it's a slightly different finish, which is quite interesting. So they're really nice, and a lot of these would actually go really well together. Say the green and that garnet. Almost a little bit Christmassy actually. But that's nice together. Or the garnet and that light blue would also be really lovely. But those are the 4mm strands then. And the 3mm strands from the bag first of all. They are all really nice. I really like most of these colours. And a lot of them, both the 3mm and 4mm, would go lovely together there, as you can see. Right, so now let's move back to the box here. So we have the paper again. We just have that handy. Got the introduction first of all. And then there's all the description, what's in there. Just flatten that out a little bit. Then we have the tissue. Let's get that out. Get the box out of the way. You can see a bit better. And also get this tissue out so it doesn't make so much noise. Right. This looks interesting. First impressions. Pull that tissue out of the way. Right, let's see here. This looks quite interesting and different. So, okay, do the usual. I'm just going to separate the bags out, put them to the side, and then look at kind of one thing at a time. Just a bit of a better overview. Can more see what we actually have and what we're dealing with. And then also just get the paper back here. You can see our descriptions. Because also on the paper it's separated into strands and then the additional items in the bags. So I'm going to start with the strands. This looks actually quite interesting and different than anything I've seen before, at least some of it. So those are the strands. Push these bags a bit more out of the way. So starting from the top, we have 5mm check glass flower spacers and the matte purple luster. Now I like the sound of that purple, and that's obviously got to be these ones. Just push them a little bit out of the way. All the others. Now these are interesting. So they're little flower beads, but it's actually from this side and the hole goes straight through there. Can almost try and show you a bit more. I've just zoomed in on it a little bit so you can see that there. So it's got that kind of flower shape. It's almost 5 little balls that are then put together into a flower, and then you have the hole down through the middle. It's a nice colour. Obviously purple is my favourite, so that helps. A nice lavender one. That's quite interesting. Personally, what I'm thinking is using these in a way where you bring something up through the hole and then put another kind of bead or something, whether it's cord or whatever you're using, and then down through the same hole, and then you pull that tight, and then you have that bead that you put in as a stopper, and then you have it facing outward. That's what my first thought with it. But obviously you can also string them like this. They look kind of cute like this as well, but obviously you don't quite get that flower impression. But those are the first ones. Then the next ones on the list are these 4mm check glass English cut matte silver ones. See if I can find, oh, it's got to be these ones. Just a tiny little strand hiding there. Now these almost look a little bit like, if you were to compare them to say gemstones, like there would be little rounds, like rough rounds of pyrite, but very bright. Obviously this is more of a bright silver, but they're quite interesting. They're very bright silver. That's quite nice. And they do look quite rough and natural with the shape of them. So you get a few of them. They'll be nice adding like feature to a piece that you're making. So that's that. Next we have check glass owls, 3 color combinations. Now I did just have a brief glance at these. These beads I have actually seen before in a different box, but not in this combination here. That was just one strand in one color. Here you got 3 different colors in one strand. That is an interesting concept, I think. So you got kind of a pale turquoise, bit matte green, and then the gold on top, and then we have a black background with white on top. And then here it's a bit more of a light brown-ish natural base with again gold on top. So it's a bit of a mix. That's quite interesting, and there's 3 of each of the colors. And I do think these beads are really cute. I've worked with them a bit before from the other box I mentioned. I do quite like them. They're really cute beads. Then we move on to some 6mm rounds, the check fire polish. These are matte silver, so there's got to be these other silver ones. And they are also really nice. Personally, silver is my favorite metallic color. I do love copper as well, but silver is probably the favorite if I have to choose. And obviously, them together work really well because they're both really bright silver. And maybe even with the purple. I love purple and silver together as well. Maybe you could then actually use these little ones. I thought of that before. I didn't think of that. As that stopper I mentioned on these flower beads. Who knows? But then these large ones here are faceted. And then because they're matte, it's quite a different look to them than if it was bright silver. I do really like that. So they are nice. Be a nice kind of featured bead in a piece. And then by the looks of it, the last 2 strands here are both 4mm rounds. Now the first ones are smoky topaz, so it's got to be these. They have some transparency to them, but they have that kind of smokiness in the color as well, and completely round. And then the other ones are blue luster, so that's these ones. You can see kind of that base color of blue, but then it's got a bit of a luster coating and finish to it. So it's just a little bit different and quite interesting. So these are all the strands that came in the box. Very interesting combination this time, I will say. Quite intrigued by that. Now moving on to the additional items. So just moving down the list here. We can see that. We have all the bags. I'm going to try and go through each of them and pick out the one that it is. So first of all, we have 28mm check glass tabular circle with peacock finish, and it says assorted colors, so it could be random and different ones. Now surely that has to be this one here. You get one piece. This actually looks pretty cute, the print that's on there. So it's a big round flat bead, so definitely I would say a feature bead in a piece, but it has this kind of star print on it, which is really quite cute. I've not seen that before in a bead. It's almost a bit of like a fabric print. Kind of have a bit of a rose base color, still a bit translucency, and then you have these cute little stars on them. and then you got the hole going down through there. So if you have a big large coin bead with stars printed on it. Next, then I can see we have a magnesite skull. So you either get a turquoise or a white one. I can tell that mine is turquoise. So we have the skull bead. Now I'm very familiar with skull beads. They're quite popular really and common, but I haven't personally ever used any. So this is the one in turquoise. And you have the hole going right from the top of the head to the very bottom there. I have seen some interesting things, but I think it's because I've never really been that attracted to the thought of skulls and that, but they are quite popular. So this is a turquoise one that looks like. And then like in several other boxes as well, you get some findings in this one. Now first of all, we have some silver plated spring rings, 8mm ones. So that's this bag. You get 100 pieces, which is pretty nice actually. Now these aren't like jump rings where you can open and close them. They're actually kind of like a split ring, where it, I don't know if I just want to open it right now, but it goes around several times and overlaps, kind of like you would have on a keychain. And a pretty nice delicate size, so you get a lot of them that you can obviously attach whatever you want to, and you're going to be quite secure that nothing's going to come out, where maybe sometimes jump rings can open depending. Next we also have some more finding things. So this is a resin blank, silver plated, so it's got to be this one. So basically where we have a shape here, which kind of looks like a frame, and then you can pour resin into it. Now I did see that when I kind of poured them all out, it caught my eye, and my first thought was it'd be brilliant to pour resin into, and you kind of could get a picture frame out of it, and obviously then it's a charm. So that's really cute. And the actual patterning along the edge is quite intricate as well, so that's interesting. It's just one-sided, the back looks like that. So that's something different. I guess you could also put something like polymer clay in, but it's probably mainly meant and useful for resin. Then next is also a bit of a finding thing. So it's a pewter hamster and it's antique copper plated. So that's these ones, I would assume. There's actually quite a lot of metallic pieces and finding things in this, which is interesting. Let's just get them out. So it's these little hands that are quite popular as well. So this is actually quite interesting. First of all, it looks pretty nice, and it's double-sided, so that's always nice. But then the hole in it goes down through that middle finger, you could say, down to the bottom. But then you have this hole in the middle of it, so you could actually add a bead in there that would be able to basically spin around and just sit in the middle of that hole. That's a pretty cute idea, and I like that kind of antique copper look to it. So there's a bit to play with there, some ideas I think. Then next, by the looks of it, we have another bead actually, which seems like quite a large one. There's one piece. It's a hand-painted porcelain, beige with khaki. So that's got to be this one. That looks very unusual. Definitely quite huge. Let me open that up. That is a bit of a beast of a bead. So a nice porcelain bead. I've never worked with porcelain beads before actually. But the hole looks pretty big, so you can get a lot through there. It's got interesting patterning on it, that's for sure. Very unusual. And very large, so again, I would say that it's quite a focal piece. Then by the looks of it, next up here we have a Swarovski. In this case, it's a Rivoli. Now I am familiar with them, but I've never actually used them. I've just seen them, and I am very intrigued by them, and I've been wanting to try them for a long time. So they do look very beautiful, and all the different colors you can get them in. Now this specific one is aquamarine, volcano. So this is the color, so it's basically multicolored. It's almost like a rainbow. That's very beautiful. It's actually got a nice size, it would be perfect for a ring really. Just that size, and capture it somehow, or a nice little delicate pendant as well. And the back is then coated like this, so obviously it gives kind of support for all the color there. That's very beautiful. Definitely I can imagine using this for something. My first thought, like I probably mentioned this before, is as a ring, because I think the size of this is just perfect for that, and it will really give a nice big impact as a ring. Then we'll have some more findings as well. So we have antique brass toggle, which be these. So it's a toggle clasp, a set, which obviously if you make anything with some of the beads in this box or the bag, you have a clasp in here as well that you can use. And it's a nice size, not too large, not too small. And it will also work quite well with a lot of colours as well. Now personally it's not my favourite metal, this, but it's a nice basic one. So at least you get a clasp in here. So you can actually more or less make a full piece of jewellery with what's in the box. And then we have some connectors which are also antique brass. So they match that clasp. So it might be lovely to use these in a bracelet with some of the beads, combine them, and then use that toggle clasp. Because then these connectors match in the metal. So that's what they look like. Two sides are kind of different. You probably have a front and a back. They're pretty nice and intricate. And you have all these, obviously you have a loop on either end, but even so, it's kind of almost a little bit Celtic, like knots or little hearts against each other, however you want to look at it really. But you have all these little loops around as well you could always use to attach together, or even to use them to make macrame off of, or anything really. Attach cords or wires through. And then the next findings are 3-strand connectors. These are again antique copper, like those little hamsa findings. They look like that. I do like this colour of the metal, and obviously that antiqueness to it really emphasises all the patterning and the shapes. So just getting those little hands out, see they will match together. So again, it's a 3-strand connector, so you can obviously, whether it's a 3-strand bracelet or necklace, either way, and you could incorporate these hands a little bit in some way. I do think it's nice that you get findings in here as well. And the very final piece is an antique silver elephant pendant. So I did have a bit of a glimpse at this and I thought this looks very interesting and different. So let me just get it out of the bag here, so we don't have that shininess in the way. This is definitely an elephant, you can see, but it's very different. It's very unique, that's for sure. So this is kind of the back. It's pretty nice and flat, but then on the front here, this domes out, and obviously you have the patterning with the actual shape of the elephant, but it's almost little hats, or no, not hats, sorry, flowers. Flower shapes all around its belly or a little bit on its cheek. And then obviously you have a loop at the top so you can hang from that. That's very unique, that's for sure. And silver is nice because that'll pretty much match with anything, any colour that you might want to use. So these are then all the things that are in the box. So it's a really nice mix this time. There's quite a lot of findings and metal things, more than usual. And then there's these beads on the strands. Obviously some beads in the little bags here as well. Now there's a few things that really caught my eye. I'm quite curious about these little purple flower beads. I like them. Obviously I like the silver beads. The owl beads are cute, but I have used them before. I'm also really curious about using this Rivoli because it's something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So I finally have one I can actually try. And then there's also the strands that we got in the bag. Here next to it, obviously you can combine them. There's definitely several of these that will go lovely with a lot of this. And my favourites out of the bag, personally, I would say, is definitely this one. I really like this colour combination. And then also the garnet, and probably also would say that dark blue. They are my 3 favourite ones, but I do think they're all really nice in their own way, but also match together with other ones. So there's definitely a lot here to experiment with, and I'm definitely looking forward to doing a bit of that. So that's what I'm going to go off and do now, try and use some of these materials and see what I can come up with. So I've now played around with the materials for a bit, and I've come up with a few things that are quite different in this one, I think. Now the first ones that I used were some strands from the bag, and these are the 2 colours that I started out with. Now I looked at the different strands and kind of sat and thought about different colour combinations, and I really liked the way these were together, and it was quite summer in my mind. And then I was kind of thinking of what to do with them, and then I just kind of out of nowhere got the feeling that I wanted to make a butterfly, and then this is what I ended up with. So I then combined these 2 colours of beads with copper wire, and I think that works really well. And it's quite summery, I think, really warm tones. So obviously the butterfly is made with wire, kind of a frame, and then I added the beads there along the edges of the wings, you could tell. And then I've added a chain on either side and made it into a necklace. So I made a little butterfly here out of these 2 strands, and there's still loads left. I only used some of the beads, not actually that many, there's loads of them left as well. The red ones I also used for a different design that I've made out of this box. Now next, as you could probably tell as I was going through it, I was quite excited about the Rivoli from Swarovski that was in it. So that was in this bag here, and as you can tell it's empty, so I did end up using it. And what I've made is something I think is quite different for me, and I'm actually really happy with how it turned out. So I did end up setting it into a ring like I kind of originally thought, but it's a bit of a different style than anything I've tried before. So obviously because it's a Rivoli, there's no hole in it, so you kind of got to capture it in a different way. So what I did was made the ring band out of wire kumihimo, and then I captured the Rivoli in this kind of interesting design, and you still get that lovely colour play from the Rivoli up there, and obviously the shimmer as well. I think it sits really nicely in that ring, and I really like this design. I definitely want to make more, so I gotta get hold of more Rivolis in loads of different colours as well. And then I thought I would just show you how it looks on as well, so you can see that kind of asymmetrical but at the same time symmetrical design capturing the Rivoli, but also that ring band. It's really nice and comfortable. I do really like using wire kumihimo for ring bands. And then this is what it ends up looking like. So I can definitely see myself making loads of different colours and keeping quite a few of them for myself as well. Now next I did some wire macrame, and I can't show you the first beads that I used because I used every single one of them. They were my favourite beads though, and ones that I've seen previously in a different size in a different box. But I made 2 different versions of this bracelet, so I can show you the other ones. I combined these 2 beads in the second bracelet that I made of the same technique. But the bracelets themselves look like this. So I'm actually really pleased with how these turned out. I really like this technique. It's a new style bracelet that I've made, and you can see these are the beads that I used every single one of. I really love the combination of them with the copper wire. I think it works so well together. And then I just finished off the end. So it's a wire macrame bracelet, and here as you can see I used those other 2 beads. So there's 2 different sizes, but it's the same basic technique. You just get a very different look from it. So I really like these bracelets here, and again that can be used with quite a few different shapes and sizes of beads as well, I think. Then the next thing I made was another ring, and this time it's also macrame, but it's micro macrame, and it's something a little bit different. So we got some different metal pieces and findings in the box as well. So for instance, we got these connectors, and there were 2 of them. And what I actually thought to do is, instead of using them for the usual connector like you would do, looks like that, I actually wanted to use it in a little bit of a different way, because the size is pretty nice to actually maybe work as something like a ring and have this be a nice feature. So that's actually what I ended up doing. So I used this metal connector to make a micro macrame ring with. That looks like that. Got the micro macrame all the way around. And then on, you have this main feature. So you see that metal connected in the middle, and then surrounded by this micro macrame, also in a similar kind of design effect. I think it works really well together, and I like this color of cord with that metal finish as well. I feel when I'm looking at this now, it's quite a medieval look to it for some reason. That's just kind of how I ended up, but I'm actually pretty pleased with this as well. It's something quite different. So it's not always beads you have to use, but metal can also be a nice feature in something, I think. And then because of that ring, I did also think, because we got these 3-strand connectors to finish off whether it's bracelets and necklaces, I actually thought to use these for, say, some earrings, and use this as kind of the base, and then make macrame or micro macrame from the little loops in them. I didn't get around to that, but I'm thinking I will probably do that in the future. But I thought that was an idea as well. So basically use metal pieces and finishes for other things than what they're actually intended to. Now the final thing that I made with the materials from this box is something that was quite outside of my comfort zone. So I can show you some of the materials that I used. I used beads off of these 2 strands here. So again, some rounds. First of all, we have this kind of opaque blue, but then I also used these clear blue. That's a little bit of faceting too as well. And I combined these with, if you remember, the big round flat coin that's got a star print on it. I was quite fascinated there and I did want to use it for something, so I thought I would challenge myself and try something that I usually struggle quite a bit with, but I would like to get better at it, and basically that's doing something quite organic. So what I ended up with is this bracelet. So you can see, because obviously there was only one coin, I used it in this. We have that as the main feature, and you get that effect of the nice star print. And then I captured it in wirework basically. And then I used the beads here to kind of swirl in with the design along the edges, the sides. And I just stuck with one kind for either side. It goes all the way around like this. And then on the other side, obviously it's the other ones. So the very front there is that coin as the main feature. I do quite like that, and I think these beads actually work quite well as well in that colorway. So like I said, this is quite outside of my comfort zone, doing something quite organic, but I would like to try and experiment a bit more with it and push myself a bit. But I'm actually quite pleased with how it ended up. I think it's a pretty lovely effect, and I also quite like how the sides there are made. It's basically a braid where one of the strands are the beads there, so I'm quite pleased with that one as well. So this time I ended up making 6 separate pieces of jewellery here, using a few of the materials, but there's still loads of materials left to make other pieces as well, obviously. And that's what I really like about these boxes and bags. You get quite a few materials, enough to make several pieces, and also things that can help challenge you, which is something I really like as well. Especially some of these pieces is something I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have actually made otherwise if it wasn't for getting them in this box and bag. So I'm very curious about what you think about these pieces as well. If you like them, do let me know in the comment section down below, and also if you have any favorites. And of course, if you want tutorials on anything, please let me know of that. That's always helpful. And I'll see what I can do. Otherwise, of course, I'm going to leave the information to this box and bag if you're interested yourself in the description box down below the video. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this one, and I'll see you in the next one.